So, let's talk about Stoic. What? Who's calling me at this time of night? I gotta take this. Hey. What do you mean there's a new DLC? First of all, I don't really cover all the DLCs when they come out. Secondly, didn't Overkill say they were... What? Oh, so let's talk about the h3h3 character pack. No. Actually, no, let's let the pack talk about itself. I'm gonna set this down. I'm gonna go eat some prongles.
Awesome, dude! Come on, follow me!
Fuck me! A shield! Knocking at death's door, are we?
These uniforms are goofy as fuck. Should we strike or something? We're just getting some psychic senses overload here. Powerful shit. Hey, Control, which adult diapers do you use? I'm thinking about changing brands, you know? Do you have any good recommendations on that? Oh my god, I think I just saw a UFO. That is so 50s. What color underwear I'm wearing? Here's a hint. It's not brown. Or at least it didn't start brown. Hey, Control, no, I was just thinking about, how can we save Los Angeles from the cringe?
Okay, fine. Let's actually talk about this one. The h3h3 character pack is Payday 2's final DLC. Hopefully. And it features not one, but two characters, Ethan and Gila. Not familiar with them? Same. From what I understand, Ethan and Gila Klein are podcasters and video stars who have a web show that's kind of like a talk show, focused on modern web culture with a bit of comedy. I've never seen it, and I wasn't going to do a bunch of research for it for the sake of this video. I was a bit sleepy when I wrote this, and I'm a bit sleepy recording this. But the long and short of it is, they were being sued by a fair use abuser, and that put them in a bad place financially. So Almir swooped down, reached into his beard, procured the magic DLC machine, and ran Ethan and Gila straight through it for the sake of glorious, glorious profit. Something like that. But then the lawsuit was resolved, and h3h3 won the money. So instead, Overkill's 70% is going to the Fair Use Protection account, which is a firm that helps protect content creators from fair use abusers. That's nice. That's actually a solid concept, and I'm not going to badmouth helping charity, especially something that could protect me in the future. But what about the actual content? Well, we already kind of talked about Ethan and Gila. Kind of. Let's talk about their backstories. So, Almir promised us they would fit neatly into the lore of the game. And in the game, Ethan and Gila are YouTuber... How does that one work? There's a bit of a logistics problem that I'm seeing. I don't think Overkill saw. How does that even work?
The Payday gang. Bane and their newest member, that vaping guy in a beanie.
Right then, got it. Honey, I'm home. Welcome home. I made your favorite husband. That one-pot mac and cheese recipe you saw on Facebook, wife? That's great. How was work? Well, we're looking for a vaping guy in a beanie. I'm gonna go check up on Junior, see how he's doing in school. What you up to, son? I'm watching h3h3 on YouTube. Who's that? He's a vaping man in a beanie. He's talking about robbing a bank. So that was a cutaway. Right, where was I? Aside from the characters, you get 4 masks. 2 character masks, 2 begins masks, pretty typical fare. 2 weapons, and 2 perk decks, too. It's amazing. It sounds too good to be true? That's because it is. Yeah, I'll admit, I was kind of hyped to get a character pack of phenomenal value, but the revelation that there's just 1 gun and 1 perk deck is disappointing, honestly. I get why they did it, so as to not pack too much cool stuff into a $5 purchase like before, but still, it wouldn't have hurt. Or they could have released Hila stuff for free. She served in the Israeli army from what I gather, so they could have packed an Israeli pistol or LMG and a military-themed perk deck, and then you pay $5 for the characters and Ethan stuff, but enough diversions, let's actually talk about the pack. So let's start with its weapon, the air bow. Remember the light crossbow? Ever wanted something that could shoot 6 arrows and reload them in the span of time the light crossbow could load and fire 2? On one hand, I actually like the air bow, but then again, if you don't like H3 but want all the weapons or just more options for 1 down, you need to shell out $5 to do it. This weapon can have better concealment than the light crossbow, and its biggest drawback is being 50 less damage and a little bit less stability. Oh, the horror. Less stability on a bow? I really think we need a free bow in the near future. This is getting ridiculous. It's a good bow. That's the problem. It's almost too good. But whatever, let's move on to the perk deck. Tag Team. This is an interesting perk deck, so the perk replaces your throwable with... Is anyone else getting sick of that? I actually want to sling dynamite or Molotovs around, and have to include some healing item in that throwable slot really cuts down my options. Well, anyways, this perk replaces your throwable with a gas dispenser. So, like the canned oxygen that athletes use, or, you mean a vape pen. Okay, you know what? I'm out. I'm too sleepy. I can't see straight. I can't think straight. Is anything happening even real? So, you point it at a teammate, you press your throwable key, and then any kills you both get heal you and them. You for 10 health, them for 5. And the kills you get keep your healing factor up for longer and result in a bigger amount of damage absorption once the healing ends. It's honestly an alright concept, except for the tiny fact that you need to be around a teammate to proc it, and it takes a full minute to cool down, with only a little bit of health granted in return. It's a bit underwhelming in that regard, but we've had worse. Sociopath, Infiltrator, one of those 2 had healing. That's not a good healing deck. So, the h3h3 pack isn't terribly fantastic. It's meh. But my biggest gripe with it is that Ethan and Hila aren't even particularly involved in Payday 2. I get Almir wanting to help him, yeah, but they could have done a charity stream for them to raise the money, had them record some NPC dialogue, not unlike Connor Shaw did for Diamond Heist. And speaking of Connor, I would have rather had a Payday YouTuber be represented in this game. Maybe not Connor, maybe like Mario in a Top Hat or General McBadass, somebody like that, somebody who's been involved with the game. Angus Burgers, I have no idea, but that's really just me. Ultimately, am I disappointed in this pack? A bit, but my money is going to charity, which I don't mind terribly much. It's $5. If you're a Payday completionist or just like their YouTube and podcast stuff, you're not going to be out too much, and you might find some use out of the bow, perk deck, maybe even Ethan and Hila. I've got no personal attachment to H3, and I don't particularly enjoy the entirety of this pack, but I'll at least say I don't mind Hila. I might end up switching my bots to be Clover, Bonnie, and Hila, so I have 3 female heisters as my backup. My final verdict is that the h3h3 pack isn't terribly fantastic. It's one of the biggest disappointments in the game, but not the biggest, mostly considering Ethan and Hila were supposed to be lore-friendly, and instead they're still YouTubers. The logistics of that still haunt me. They will forever haunt me. I'll never be the same. I wished it was more lore-friendly and had a bit more content, or at least more meaningful content that didn't become, too meaningful. I'd say get it only if you care for h3h3 and you're in a good place financially to make a $5 donation. At the end of the day, you're not missing out on anything great if you can't. So, yeah, I don't know how to end this. It's getting late. I'm getting a bit weird writing this, so, yeah. Something, see you around. Hey, I'd like to announce right now that I am on winter break. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I am planning to live stream Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12:30 Central Time for about an hour and a half to 3 hours, and Fridays at 10:30 Central Time for about an hour and a half. Check it out at twitch.tv/h3h3.